Welcome back. This is Tina Salzer with your Podcasting Part 2 video. Unfortunately, your version of Garageband does not have the still image feature any longer. Apple decided to remove that feature in the latest version of Garageband. So, to finish your podcasting practice project, we will be loading your audio piece from Garageband into iMovie to enhance it with images. So first, we're going to have to gather the images. I'm going to get out of Garageband here. We're going to have to get the images and put them into a folder on your computer. So for your podcast, you're going to want to make sure that you have all your images gathered in one place. So for your practice project, though, the images that we're going to get are going to be from Google Images, and we're going to make sure that we use copyright-free images. So I'm going to show you how to do that now. So you're going to want to type in a title of some media that you want to look up, and so I'm just going to type in the word school for a search. Now we get all of these images, but these images are not copyright-free images. So to find the images that are free for us to use, we click on Tools, go to Usage Right, and you could use labeled for reuse with modification or labeled for reuse. Just to be safe, I'm going to use the ones labeled for reuse with modification. So the images that come up in here are images that are copyright free or free to use images. So for your practice project, I want you to get at least 4 to 5 images that you can place into your Garageband podcast. So I'm just going to grab a couple here. If you click on them and open them up, when it opens here, if you click in the middle, if you can hold the Control key down and click in the middle of the image, you can say Save Image As, and then you give it a title, and you're going to tell it where to put the images, and I actually have a folder on my desktop. So if you click this arrow here, it will allow you to go out to the full screen, and then I can put it in my podcasting folder. So there's one, and again I asked you to get 4 to 5. It'd probably be best if you have 5, because once we get into iMovie to show how this works, you will understand. So I'm going to get all my images, and so again, how you get an image from here is you click on the image in the middle, and then on this image you hold the Control key down and click and say Save Image As. Give it a title. Make sure it's in the right folder. Say Save. So that's 3. And I'm going to grab one more here. Okay, so now I have all my images for my practice podcast, and so now what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to go into iMovie, so that you get to that from the Finder in Applications and open iMovie. Now once in iMovie, you're going to want to create a new project, and it's going to be a movie. And it doesn't give you the option to title it right away, so you'll do that later. What we're going to do is we're going to drag in our images first. And so with this screen open, if you go out to the Finder, select where you put your images, then you can go grab them right from here. So I'm going to just click and drag them in. To my iMovie. Now I have all 5 images in there. What you're going to want to keep in mind is how long your podcast is, because your images when you drag your podcast in, your images have to be the length of your podcast. So what you can do is you can go back into your podcast and open it up. And if it opens in iTunes, quit iTunes, hold on. You're going to want it to open in QuickTime. So if you control click on that and say open with, it will open in QuickTime, because when you do that, it'll give you a feed right here of how long it is. So my GarageBand podcast is 43 seconds. So I'm going to want 43 seconds of images to pop up in here before I load the song in. Otherwise, the whole song won't load. So notice here that I only have 20 seconds. What I can do is I can click on these images in iMovie and drag them out to make them longer. And when you're doing the practice project, it's probably best if you can find images related to what you're speaking about. But for time's sake, I just pulled in a few different images. And I'm just about to 43, so I'm going to make this one yet a little bit longer so I can get up to 43 seconds. Oops. And pull it back a little. As you can see, when I do that, this is changing. And then in the end, I might just drag in a picture. If any of you guys are familiar with Bitmoji, these pictures came from Bitmoji. So I might drag that in to give me a few more seconds at the end of my podcast. Okay, so now that I have my 43 seconds in there, I can now go to my actual practice podcast that I created in GarageBand, and I can pull that in. So here's my practice project, or practice GarageBand podcast, and I can pull that in over top of the images. And then as you can see, it puts it in there as the audio. And if I scroll across, I can see how far the audio goes compared to the pictures. And then I can go back and I can readjust the pictures as needed as well once that podcast is in. But you have to have the full length of the podcast itself. Now, when you're doing an actual podcast feed, you're going to want your images to reflect what you're stating in the podcast, so you're going to have to be more specific with the pictures when you're creating your actual project. Now, the way that I can listen to this is just like in GarageBand, I come to the front and hit my spacebar key. I apologize for that. For some reason my recording stopped. So what I was explaining to you is how you listen in iMovie to your recording. So if you bring this cue bar back to the beginning and you hit the space bar, it's going to play where you started. Now you can come.
Will the wolf. Will was fed up. All he wanted.
You can view what it looks like up here in the screen as it plays along, so you can see what your images are doing as you are talking. And you can scroll as far as you want. You can go to the end to listen. There's lots of tools up here that you could use to modify as well, but for your practice project, you can play with those as you wish. But you'll want to make sure that you get your audio attached to your pictures. And again, one important thing to remember is that your audio or your pictures have to be in the length of your audio before you put the audio in, or it's going to cut your audio off. Once you've done that, then you need to go to the share icon. And you're going to share this as a file. So you click File. You'll want it to be set up so that you can see that it's medium. I wouldn't do any more than that or any less than that. I would just set it to medium for the quality. And all of these should be stated about the same. You will need to label your project, and so you're going to label it with your first name, last initial, and you're going to just say podcasting practice, and then give it a year. So label it with 2017. So here's an example. You're going to say next, and then you're going to have to label it here, same way. And I'm just going to put mine on my desktop for now. You can put yours in your document, or you actually, it's a good idea, maybe I'll put it in my podcasting folder, and then say save. Now, once you've done that, it may take this a while. This is your processing icon, so it's going to show you where the video is at in processing. Pretty soon, you'll see the schedule clock come up. When this is all finished, that means that the project has been completed. Once the project has been completed, you need to go back and load that project into your Google Classroom so your teacher can have the project posted to her classroom. And you'll go back to your podcasting project number 2 and just load it right under that assignment. Hopefully that helps you get through. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me. My email address is tina.sauser, SAUSER, at ESU8NE.org, and I'd be glad to help you. Thanks for watching.